Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now, today's episode, we're talking about two of my favorite things. Of course, we're going to talk about credit cards and Apple stuff. Specifically, if you just got a new iPhone or you've never gotten around to it, how exactly do you set up Apple Pay? How does it work? Why would you want to use it? All that and more. So, of course, if you're an Apple fan or a credit card fan looking for a new phone potentially, then go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, of course, as you might have imagined, you're going to need for this episode, if you want to follow along at home, some credit cards and an iPhone. Now, it can be any iPhone. I believe they all have Apple Pay. This is an iPhone 14 Pro, and that kind of brings me to the first point of why we're doing this video. Now, if you're like me and you get the new iPhone every year because life's just easier if we do what Daddy Apple commands, right? Well, you can set up your iPhones very simply, just kind of like holding them next to each other, and it'll copy everything over. But one thing that it doesn't all the way copy over is your Apple Pay credit cards, right? Because there's a layer of security. It still wants you to go in and verify you have the card. So I thought, why not sit down and do it from scratch? Now, before we get into this, what is Apple Pay and how does it work, in case you're new here? Well, Apple Pay is like kind of a digital wallet. Basically, all the major phone carriers have them. Google Pay, Samsung Pay, Apple Wallet, right, has Apple Pay. And so you don't actually need an Apple credit card to use Apple Pay, though, of course, they want you to, as we'll see as we go through the setup process here. But essentially, Apple Pay or Apple Wallet is an app on your phone. It's a digital wallet where you can actually store not only credit cards but other digital passes as well. And actually, I use it more for storing digital passes. As you'll see, my gym membership is in there, so I can just scan it to get in at the door, like when the employee section is closed, but you can still get in through like the 24-hour door. Car insurance is in there, all my hotel statuses. You can add airline passes to there, things like that. So I find it really helpful for that you can kind of pull them up very quickly. Now, but specific for the Apple Pay component, again, you're going to add your credit card to it, and then what you can do is a few things. Now, it's going to be most notably at stores during checkout. They're going to be next to the point of sale machine or POS. You'll see kind of like that tap to pay symbol. It looks like the Wi-Fi symbol. And really, this uses NFC or near field communications, how two devices can communicate. I just turned on the flashlight. Didn't want to do that. And that's how devices kind of communicate. So you hold it or tap it, and eventually, you'll get a prompt that says, hey, go ahead and pay, and it'll be happen very quickly. Now, in addition to that, it also adds a level of security, because again, you're not putting your card directly in the machine. You're actually, using NFC. I believe they kind of generate like a one-time passcode for that specific transaction, so it does add a level of security to your payments as well. But it's its highest level. That's what Apple Pay is. That's how NFC works. Now, again, if you do this, you're still going to get all your underlying credit card benefits, right? So if you're paying at a restaurant, you're using, the Altitude Go card that gets 4x back at dining, then yes, you're still going to get your 4% back. Nothing actually changes for you there. You're still getting your rewards, which is perfect. Now, in addition to that, some cards, like the U.S. Bank Altitude Reserve card, they do have like a mobile wallet perk, right? And that would help trigger that. For example, we're not going to touch too much on that today. Again, we're just talking about setting up Apple Pay, but that is kind of, the gist of it, why you might want to consider it. So overall, that's our crash course in Apple Pay, what it is, how it works, and credit card benefits. So really what I'm going to do here, I'm going to get a screen record going, and then we'll put up the phone, and we can kind of like follow along together. So, of course, you don't have to make fun of the apps that I have, but again, this should work on any phone. So, I do have the Apple Wallet right here. Touch that app. So again, I removed a lot of the passes I had because a lot of the passes had like account numbers on them, and I didn't want to black everything out. But again, when you're in the app, you can see the first thing we have here is this account. And so this is actually like my Apple gift card balance. So if you're a frequent of the show, I love me some gift cards for those 5% rotating quarterly categories. I, in fact, bought the iPhone 14 Pro just by buying Apple gift cards. You can load them onto your Apple account. So if you were in the Apple store or something like that, you could use this. You can't use this to buy anything else, but it's nice that they put that there. They have Apple Cash, which is kind of like a way for them, send money to friends and things like that. I don't actually use it, but again, it's going to be there. And I think until you add credit cards, it would actually be your default payment method if you were out and about trying to make a purchase. So in addition to that, again, we have, like I said, Powerhouse Gym. That's my gym membership. My National, my Speedway, Hilton Gold, Delta Sky Miles. The one thing I will say, about adding airline passes in my experience, because usually you're in the Delta app and say, would you like to add this to your Apple Wallet? And then sometimes it'll give you like a location based thing, it'll pop up automatically. The passes or the tickets don't always update the gate when the gate changes, so you just have to be careful of that. But again, we're here to talk about adding credit cards. So if you want to add a credit card, again, you've got this plus sign up here at the top on the right, and you can see right here. So our options is, I did have 3 cards previously added. So if I tap that, you can see I have the Freedom, all 3 Freedom cards, 2 OG Freedoms and a Freedom Unlimited. So because these are already in here, these came over from my old iPhone 13, I could technically go in here and just add the information that it wants me to add. However, we want to do this from scratch. So we're not going to do that. Of course, you could apply for the Apple Card if you wanted to. Then, of course, you can add a debit, credit card, transit card, driver's license, or state ID, because some states do allow you to have use your driver's license digitally there. So out of scope for us, but again, the same mechanics would apply. You could do it here. And of course, it I guess knows that I have the Chase app, so I could make it easier there. It is interesting. I have so many banking apps on my phone, but they're not showing up here, just Chase is. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but okay, we're going to do it from scratch. So debit or credit card, so we're going to start there. And of course, add cards to Apple Pay, send money to friends. Got it. So let's continue. So it wants me to take a picture. So let me put this down, pull out a card. I'm going to use the Citi Double Cash because we don't have it yet. Now, the interesting thing here is that the Double Cash, again, the numbers are on the back. So I don't know if it's going to let me take a picture, but it actually did scan it pretty good. It put my name and my card number right off of the card there. So again, I'm probably going to black that out for you, but we'll go next. So again, it's got the expiration date. The only other thing it wants is the CVV, so the 3-digit code on the back. Put that in. Next, talking to the card issuer, setting up card for Apple Pay. Of course, we have to agree. Giving it some time to process. Now, while it's processing, I will mention that not every single card works with digital wallets, but most of them do at this point. Most banks actually pitch it as like a benefit of using the card. So your default card has been changed to Citi Double Cash. Say, okay, sure. Now it's actually going to tell you the things that I'm going to tell you. So if you wanted to, pay for something, it says double click the side button to authenticate with Face ID. And then, if it would be Touch ID if you have like an iPhone SE or some of the older ones. But again, you double click it, that's going to bring up the card there, so we can continue. And now you can see Citi Double Cash is added and ready for use. So that's cool. We can kill that. So we're good there. So now we can see the Double Cash is added in. We have the number there at the bottom. So again, I'm going to add in one more card this time, just so you can kind of see how it works between 2 different cards. So we'll do this really quickly. Again, we just did it, but this time we're adding in a card we already have. This is the Freedom Flex. Again, scan it, pulls in the information nicely. It doesn't pull over the code on the back, so we're going to do that. Add that in there. Again, same process, but I do want to show you how you switch between 2 different cards. So to do that, we need 2 different cards. Agree. We'll speed past this part here because we just saw it. Again, setting up card for Apple Pay. Adding to wallet. Card has been added. There we go. So now I could set this as my default card if I wanted to. I'd keep the Double Cash as my default card because, again, that's going to be 2% back, which is probably my catch-all card. So there you have it. Now, what if, this isn't the order of the cards you want? Because you can see the order. So you also, if you can hear that, you get a bunch of emails saying you just linked your cards together. So, we have more cards here now, but what if, so let's go out of that for a second. And they say, hey, double tap it. And then you can see how the Double Cash comes up and it says hold near card reader, right? But if I wanted to switch cards, I could actually just switch like that. See, I'm just tapping. I can open up my set of cards. Now maybe I want to use my Apple Card, see insufficient balance. But that's helpful when you want to switch cards, right? Because it's just every time it's going to scan your face again, and it'll say hold near card reader, but we can cancel out of that. Now, in addition to that, you can just change the order of the cards by holding it and moving it up like that. Apple Cash is now your default card. So okay, apparently the first card is the one that will be the default. That's what changes it. So I put Citi Custom. See, there we go. So Double Cash. So the first card you're looking, I would have thought it'd be the top card, but the card facing you is your default card, right? And then you can, of course, move those around any way you want to, just like that. So, there's also, you can change this in settings as well. Again, I find it easier just do the drag and drop setup that way. And then, another cool thing here is, again, if you're in the Apple ecosystem, again, you can still, if you're checking out through like a web browser or an app, again, you can usually check out through Apple Pay, sometimes like just how you would normally do PayPal. It'll also have Apple Pay as an option as well. And in addition to that, if you have a lot of Apple devices linked together, like this MacBook or this iPad, even back here, I believe they should link over. Now, you might have to put in the 3-digit card number over there as well for security purposes. But again, if you're buying something from your browser, which is much more likely to be helpful on the computer, you could end the same cards you have here could show up over there. Again, I think you're just going to put in that 3-digit code on the back for security purposes. But overall, that's pretty much it. That is Apple Pay. Now, I think we can kill the screen share here. Stop recording that. I think we got our point across. But I will say, someone with a bunch of different cards, I do find it helpful in case, for whatever reason, I haven't grabbed all the cards that I need, or I'm like, oh no, what I was supposed to switch out to this card or that card. It definitely can help. Again, digital wallets, tap to pay is becoming much more widely accepted. And for that reason, I kind of use it more so as a backup. Now, to be honest with you, I'm definitely much more inclined to just pull out my card and actually dip it, as they say, which is when you use the chip to pay. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just more old school, right? I don't find it too hard to insert the card. I'm not one of those people who's always kind of carrying their phone in their hands, But for me, as a credit card person, I definitely have it as a backup. Now, of course, if you have the Apple Watch or something like that, again, same deal here. You could just, it would appear there, and I can kind of see how just doing one of those would be a lot easier than, going through all your cards. But overall, guys, that has been how to set up Apple Pay. Again, it's really easy, straightforward, to the point. So again, when you get a new phone, sit down, spend the 5 minutes going through your cards. It's not too bad. Again, it scans them all for you. So of course, if you like this one, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you're an Android person, I guess if you mail me an Android phone, I'll do Android Pay. I just don't have an Android phone, or Samsung Pay, whatever it is, right? But anyways, even if you're an Android person, drop me a thumbs down below. Anyways, of course, if you liked it, consider subscribing to the channel. So we're posting content just like this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Of course, right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. Again, my question for you guys is, let me know down below. One, what is your favorite digital wallet? Are you more likely to do the tap to pay through a phone or an Apple Watch or a smartwatch versus old school using your cards? What are your use cases? How's it working for you? Love to get your thoughts on that. But anyways, guys, that's been it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching. Talk to you very soon in the next one.